Hello, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. With the exception of a great opening promo and a fantastic steel cage match main event to close the show tonight, the rest of this episode of Smackdown tonight was 100% poop hammer worthy. Nothing was unique, nothing was original, and in fact, it was full of tremendous mistakes and a whole lot of things wrong. We are going to talk about that and so much more right here and right now. Did Daniel Bryan do it? Was he able to overcome this steel cage main event versus main event Jey Uso? Stick around and find out. My name is Nick Nightmare. You are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Smackdown review and reaction show. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
What a great steel cage match. Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso continue to be two of my absolute favorite things on SmackDown. Main event Jey Uso with another main event in his back pocket, and he definitely did not disappoint. It was such a good matchup, made even more intense by the appearance of Roman Reigns sitting at ringside in his little office chair that Paul Heyman rolled down to the ring for him like the little walrus pet that he is, so Roman could get a great roadside or ringside seat for this matchup, and it was really great. And the only thing that is really wrong with everything that happened with Daniel Bryan right now is the fact that we almost know that despite the fact that he earned this opportunity by defeating Jey Uso tonight in that steel cage, making him tap out, there is no way in hell that the WWE is going to give Daniel Bryan the Universal Championship and take it off their prized possession, the tribal chief head of the table, Roman Reigns. That just is not going to happen. It is not a feasible thing in my mind. If anything, Daniel Bryan might get screwed once again out of beating Roman Reigns, maybe due to Edge, who didn't feel it necessary to show up tonight despite being the number one contender for the Universal title. Maybe it'll be Jey Uso getting involved once again, protecting his cousin, and then they could force Daniel Bryan in there some other way and give us this triple threat for the Universal Championship. Daniel Bryan versus Edge versus Roman Reigns, that's main event. Any show, anywhere in the world, any time of year, especially WrestleMania time. And I would be all for that. I don't really mind it so much. It's just kind of predictable because you just can't believe, not even for a second, that Roman Reigns is going to lose the belt before or even at this year's WrestleMania when he's finally at the level the WWE wants him to be at. SmackDown tonight opened up with Daniel Bryan, of course, giving an impassioned and fiery promo. That was really, really great. You know what was wrong with this promo, though? The appearance of Michael Cole. You see, Michael Cole didn't have to be in the ring to introduce Daniel Bryan. All he proceeded to do was ask the stupidest question possible. Michael Cole actually turned to Daniel Bryan and asked him why he would turn down the originally planned main event of Daniel Bryan and Edge versus Roman and Jey Uso for tonight in order to get another shot at the Universal Championship. Let me repeat that question. Why did you not want to have the tag match, we'll paraphrase a little, and decide to go for another shot at the championship? What kind of an asinine question is that? If you, my friends, my Sledgeheads and Sledge Nation, sound off in the comments below and answer me this. If you were in any wrestling promotion in the world and your promoter came up to you and said, "Hey, wrestler guy or girl, we're going to put you in a random tag team match tonight that's going to mean and do absolutely nothing relative to the story that we're trying to tell for your character, or We can put you in a steel cage where if you win, you'll get a shot at the championship. What are you going to choose? What kind of a stupid question was that for him to ask? But we shouldn't be surprised, because stupid questions and Michael Cole are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together, and then you gotta digest them. Some people don't like peanut butter. Some people are allergic to peanut butter, and I think that's my feeling with Michael Cole. I think I'm just allergic to Michael Cole. He makes my eyes swell up, and he makes my throat close, because he just infuriates me so much with the terrible play-by-play that we've been subjected to for over 2 decades from this guy. This guy blew the ending of the Cesaro and who the hell did Cesaro fight tonight? Oh, right, Murphy. Murphy came back after being missing for 3 months, and he wanted to join back up with Seth Rollins, but he's having this match with Cesaro, and before the match is over, Michael Cole called the finish. He called the finish. He said Cesaro taps out Murphy for the win, while Murphy was still in the submission hold way before he tapped out. This guy is a giant bag of poop hammers, and he definitely is one of the worst things in the WWE. They get rid of Mauro Ranallo, but we're going to keep Michael Cole for 2 decades. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. You know what else is ridiculous? There is one story going on for the road to WrestleMania that's like adding 2 plus 2. Any person, anybody with a base level education that is above the age of 6 can add 2 plus 2 and come out with 4. Now, if you're a wrestling promoter, you have an easy equation like that with Bianca Belaire and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is the champion of the women's division of the Blue Brand. Bianca Belaire won the Royal Rumble, earning her shot at the championship. You would think it would be smooth sailing in nice, beautiful, clean waters all the way on that road, or the river, rather, on your pirate ship to WrestleMania, and you've got these 2 beautiful women, talented women that can main event this show. It doesn't need anything else. It's the Boss versus the EST of WWE. That's the only story you need. The championship hangs in the balance. But instead of building up Bianca week after week, giving her meaningful wins, having Sasha Banks do the same on her end, defending her championship, showing the world that she's a badass, that she is the boss, that she's beating everybody that comes across her, building both of these women simultaneously, heading towards their WrestleMania encounter. That is so easy. It's easy. It's a chip shot. You don't need to add all this extra. You don't need Reginald. You don't need Nia Jax and Shayna Basler. You don't need anything else. That is the most ironclad, concrete WrestleMania story to tell. The winner of the Royal Rumble versus the champion. It tells itself. Your job is to make both of these women look good, look viable, look like a threat to each other through promos and through good matches, where both of these girls win. But instead, we got Bianca Belaire on tonight's show being made to look foolish because not only did Sasha Banks, her opponent at WrestleMania and current partner, are going to be given a shot at the tag team championships, which is just ridiculous. Not only was that involved in a match that Bianca should have been just put in to be highlighted and win definitively, a win over Shayna Baszler would have been fantastic for her on the road to WrestleMania. But instead, we got to have Reginald come out, get involved for some reason, and then get smacked in the face by Sasha Banks. You have the opportunity here to do something great for the women's division, and you're pulling a fucking James Ellsworth on us with this Reginald. It's unnecessary. We don't need it. Let the story tell itself. It should be that easy. But instead we get nonsense. We get poop hammer worthy nonsense. Absolutely friggin' ridiculous. Just like what they decided to do with the rest of this show. Last week we seen King Corbin and Sami Zayn versus the Street Profits. This week we seen them in singles matches versus each other, only made even stupider by the fact that Constable King Dickhead himself, Baron Corbin, he doesn't want to be in a tag team with Sami Zayn. He says he's a singles competitor. He doesn't want to have another rematch. He doesn't want to have anything to do with Sami Zayn either. And then, I'm not a defendant, or I'd never defend King Dickhead at all, but the WWE wrote him to be stupid. They wrote him to be stupid. The guy's standing outside the ring. Sami Zayn is on the apron. He gets knocked off by Dawkins, I think, or Ford, whichever one it was, and hits Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin gets pissed off at Sami Zayn, like Sami Zayn hit him, as if he didn't see, with his own two dickhead eyes, that he was pushed off the ropes. I hate when they do that shit. You make your talent look like they're fucking blind, or very stupid, one or the other. Maybe in this case, it was both. I don't know. Long story short, King Corbin defeated Montez Ford for some reason. I guess it's just because Vince McMahon really loves the end of days maneuver. I think that's the only reason why Corbin is still around. He's got probably the best new finisher that's come along in a while, and so he's the king. However, he's the worst king since the days of King Mabel and guys like the King Badass Billy Gunn, who were two of the most worthless King of the Rings in history. This guy's taken the cake. He's been the king for however long. They've done nothing with him but make him eat dog food and give him random partners and shit, and now they're doing this, and it's completely uninteresting. He doesn't even want anything to do with it, but yet they are going to force the issue. So after this match is when the little confrontation happens between him and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn bumps off the rope into Corbin. Corbin gets pissed like a little baby man and then leaves. Who cares? Now we're left with Angelo Dawkins versus Sami Zayn, the other half of the rematch that we're getting tonight from last week. And Angelo Dawkins defeats Sami Zayn this time. So we have 50-50 booking in consecutive matches on the same night. They gave one win to King Corbin in his non-team with Sami Zayn and one win to the other team, because reasons, I guess. Absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary. Continuing with that, we had more Reginald. We have to have Reginald all over the show. I don't know whose dick he's sucking in the back, but he's doing a good job because they're basing everything in the women's division around Reginald. Carmella and Reginald are in the back. She yelled at little Reggie. She yelled at R. Falls for helping Sasha Banks, and then she very flimsily knocked the bottle of champagne out of his hands and fired Reginald. And just when you think you heard some good news, Reginald's fired, he's going to be gone. No, this asshole decides to linger around and get involved with Sasha later on in the evening, as we already touched upon. This was followed by another rematch from last week. But it was a tag match last week, and it's a singles match this week. We got the giant baby son, Dominic Mysterio, with Tiny Dad on the outside, taking on Chad Gable with Otis, the newly heel, scary-looking, Dr. Robotnik-looking Otis on the outside. Okay. Why? I don't know. The match itself was very short, which was the only thing good about it. It was okay. I mean, Chad Gable could wrestle a broomstick and make it look good. Dominic's got some talent. It's there. They won't allow him to develop it or do anything special with it, but it's there. It's just not ready yet, I think. I just have no interest. Why are they even fighting? What is this even over? There's nothing to get behind here. While I'm happy that it is not Dominic and Ray versus Seth or Baron Corbin, this just seems forced and unnecessary, and I didn't care for it. And Chad Gable shouldn't be losing to a Dominic Mysterio. At least not on a random SmackDown. You save things like that for a pay-per-view. After he gets his ass kicked by Chad Gable week after week after week, and then you give the babyface that comeback, finally he can win, something sort of story. Well, all I'm waiting for from Dominic Mysterio is the day he turns on his dad. And we have Dominic versus Rey, which should be what's happening now, because who knows how much longer Rey Mysterio actually has in the ring. Why they're not doing this, maybe they don't want to fight each other, but I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that for your son. Who would be better to put him over than his own dad? Handing the reins from your generation to his. You don't have to give him your mask. You don't have to take your little question mark and your little phoenix bird on the outside. You don't have to do any of that. He could still just be him. But he should do that by beating Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania or a SummerSlam or one of the big four pay-per-views. Instead, we're seeing him wrestle Chad Gable unnecessarily on a SmackDown. Give me a break. Caleb Braxton interviewed Seth Rollins, who added another collection to his awful selections in jackets. 1 week after the other. Like, he came back after his break and he was wearing this like 1960s bomber jacket thing. And then he came out with like a Hugh Hefner silver and black weird looking smoking jacket on. And then he decided to come out Seth Night Fever, Saturday Night Seth, dressed like John Travolta, the white jacket with the black lapel. All he needed to do was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and he would be John Travolta for a new age, and Saturday Night Fever comes to life on Friday Night Smackdown. But now this week, he wants to continue to push the Embrace Division thing while dressed up in a suit that's the same color as Vision from Marvel. I've got that on my brain because I've been watching WandaVision. The season finale happened. I watched it this morning. It was fucking great. You know what wasn't great? Seth Rollins' Vision-colored jacket. And why does he keep coming out in these ridiculous jackets? Moss.
What's that jacket for? It's the worst thing ever.
It absolutely is. Every week it's just the same thing over and over again, and then he comes out and you hear the burn it down, and all I really want to say and tell him is
burn it. You should burn the jacket.
You should burn these jackets. He looks ridiculous. I don't know what it is. It's not personal, believe me. I know the guy don't like me. I don't care. It's not about that. It's just, as far as a character is concerned, it's boring. It does nothing for him. It's not doing anything for me as a fan. If you're putting on these outfits to make me dislike you even more, then good job. Good job. But if that's not the reason for it, then I don't know. Out of nowhere, Murphy shows up and wants to help Rollins with his Cesaro problem, and Seth Rollins told him to get the hell out of here, hit the bricks. Nobody needs you. And I don't understand. They're so inept and they have no other things to do. They just have to go back to what they've already done. Buddy Murphy hasn't been on TV since the beginning of December. They took him out of the whole Rey Mysterio thing. He's not an honorary member of the family anymore. He's not dating little Aaliyah anymore. What do we do with Buddy Murphy? Well, Seth Rollins is back. Let's just try to make him the disciple again. What? Ridiculous. Bianca Belaire defeats Shayna Basler tonight. And thankfully so, she got the win. But the bottom line is, this was just overbooked and unnecessary. Because instead of having the two women who are going to be in a championship match at WrestleMania focused on each other and trying to keep their momentum and stay strong, they're on this little sidetrack, because WWE likes to do this, where they're going to challenge for the women's tag team championships. The right thing to do here would have been to have the championships change hands on NXT this week. There is no reason why Dakota Kai and Reina Gonzalez shouldn't have beat them took those belts, kept them on NXT, get the talent that nobody knows over. You could have had them showing up, had 2 more girls on the roster to do things with, but no, you want to keep it on these 2 who are doing absolutely nothing with it, and the WWE continues to force the issue and purposefully have the Women's Championship storyline be intertwined with the Women's Tag Team Championships. They did it to Asuka, now they're doing it to Sasha, and I don't understand, especially in this case, when it's the easiest one-on-one storyline to tell in the world. And being made worse with the whole Reginald shit. You're taking the focus away from the thing that should be important, and that is that championship match. This is a historic match. This is the first time 2 beautiful women of color, well, it doesn't matter if they're beautiful. I think they're beautiful, so I always say that they're beautiful. That's just my personal opinion. But these are 2 tremendous black women's athletes that are being given a main event championship match at WrestleMania. This is unprecedented. This is historic. And you're going to shit on it with involvement from Reginald and Nia Botch Machine and Shayna Basler, who's been just completely wasted on this roster since she's come up. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. Sasha and Bianca deserve better than this. You know who else deserves better? Each and every one of you and me, because we got Cesaro with his match with Buddy Murphy, and it was a good match. Cesaro's been putting on bangers of a match. It was a decent match, but it was ruined. Ruined by Seth Rollins being on commentary. Seth Rollins constantly pestering Michael Cole to embrace the vision and just being completely distracting on the outside. What did I tell you guys? What do we say when it comes to Seth Rollins more than anything? Seth Rollins in the ring, bell to bell, fantastic talent. Excellent wrestler, very entertaining in the ring. Put a microphone in his hand, and it's nap time. His nickname might as well be Ambien. Instead of screaming "burn it down" at the front of his song, they should scream "Ambien." And you just have a chorus of snores. Unless he's going to come out to wrestle, then you can get hyped up. Because he's a great wrestler. But his characters have been underdeveloped. They're not fleshed out. We still don't know what his whole purpose was as the Messiah. And now he's changed his tagline. And now it's embrace the vision. What's the vision? What's the vision? Your fucking outfit? Because I ain't embracing that. Thankfully, Cesaro won. Seth Rollins didn't get involved. And hopefully they don't go backwards and just pair him up with Buddy Murphy again in the future, because they simply don't have anything else to do. They have no inspiration. They don't know how to do anything different. All they really know how to do is repeats and fill time with a lot of filler segments that sometimes can be inspired by popular culture. And I was all for Apollo Crews, the Nigerian Prince angle. I think it was a great way to go. It can give him a nice way to stand out, differentiates his character, gives it some development. But what they didn't need to have him develop was an accent. Now, I understand some people are going to say, and I've seen some people on social media praising this angle. I've seen them say things like, if you're going to embrace it, you got to do it. You got to go all in. And I don't disagree with that too much, but there is one thing. I dig the spear. I dig him coming out and embracing his heritage. I dig the whole scarf. I dig the fact that he came out with 2 MPs, some military personnel, side by side, flanking him on his way to the ring. I don't mind any of that. And I even love the direction of the promo that he was giving. But that accent just reminds me of pre-New Day Kofi Kingston. And when Kofi Kingston showed up and was pretending to be Jamaican and had that terrible Jamaican accent, and then all of a sudden it was just gone. Just like Lana. Terrible, terrible Russian accent, and then gone. So what's going to happen? Apollo Crews, who is a United States citizen last time I checked, I'm pretty sure he grew up in Atlanta or someplace down there, or North Carolina, one of those places. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just guessing the region, but I'm pretty sure he's from somewhere around there. Stone Mountain, Georgia, I believe, just like Jake the Snake Roberts, as I'm trying to think about it. But this guy's now got a Nigerian accent. He was obviously spending his entire week watching the Black Panther. The only thing I was waiting for was him to cross his arms and scream, "Wakanda forever!" That was the only thing missing. Other than that, I mean, it's just a minor criticism. I don't think the accent was the way to go. It's off-putting. You know he don't speak like that. He hasn't spoken like that in 6 years. And if they wanted to do something like this, now, you know how we are on this show. I don't like to just shit all over things without giving you guys some sort of an alternate plan. And if this was truly what they wanted to do with Apollo Crews, if they were smart about it, they would take their time. They would have had Apollo Crews lose to Big E, right? And then you have him disappear. But week after week, you show him in vignettes, revisiting his homeland, reconnecting with his roots. Maybe he's off TV in an action capacity and he's not wrestling for 2, maybe 3 weeks. And every week we see part 1 of Apollo Crews' return home, part 2, part 3. And now he's been in Nigeria. He's been in Africa, so to speak. So when he comes back and now has this accent, it would at least make a little bit more sense. He's not just sitting at home for a week watching the Black Panther and saying, "Yeah, I'm going to talk like that now." No, that's how it comes across. But you should have built it properly. And you show these things and you show why he's changed, how he's changed, without just sending him out there willy-nilly. Just, "All right, tonight you got an accent now. Can you do it? An accent? An accent? Not really. Well, here's what Vince wants you to do. Go copy the Black Panther. Talk like them." That was very popular about 2 or 3 years ago. It might seem like I'm complaining to complain at that point, but I'm not. It's how I genuinely feel. I love everything about what they're doing with it, except for the surprise and sudden accent. Sudden accents are sudden, and we don't need them here. He was fine, just as he was last week. He was awesome in this segment, though. Everything he said was great. He's challenging, once again, Big E. He knows Big E is returning next week. He's demanding. He's not asking for things anymore. He's a prince. He's a real, actual African American. And he's demanding that he's giving another shot at Big E's championship. I don't know if that match happens next week. Probably not. Big E's going to come back. They're going to have some sort of an angle. They're going to book it for Fastlane on the go-home show for Fastlane, I believe next Friday is anyway. Where that definitely could be main event worthy if they just held off just a little bit. Kayla Braxton was going to interview Jey Uso, and Daniel Bryan attacked him prior to the match. You know, the way baby faces do. I know he's pissed off, and he's desperate, and this might be his last chance at a WrestleMania main event. But it just seemed a little out of character for Daniel Bryan. We also had a backstage segment where Natalya and Tamina... My brain just fell asleep just by saying their names. Natalya and Tamina, they were talking to the GM, who's not the GM, but it's actually the GM, Adam Pearce, and his not the GM, but it's actually the GM's assistant GM, Sonya Deville. They're pissed off that they're not getting the title shot against the women's tag team champions at Fastlane. And Pearce says that match they decided on already and left Sonya Deville there standing with them. That's it. It's going to be Sasha and it's going to be Bianca versus them. And I guess Natty and her newfound best friend are pissed. And then Sonya Deville's like, "Oh, she'd make a difference in the division. I mean, I don't know what any of this really meant. It was just all filler. Apollo Crews' whole promo leading into this, leading into a useless ding-dong hello segment that was completely unnecessary. I feel like they don't know what they're doing with Bayley. Well, they don't know what to do with Bayley now that they already burned her out versus Bianca Belair. And they gave us Bayley versus Sasha so many times at this point. Why would we want her to be involved in this match at WrestleMania? You don't. You don't. Maybe this was the first step to somebody pissing her off, because Bayley decides, instead of reading mean tweets, which is something that talk shows do, she's going to read sweet tweets. And then she read a couple that talked about how great her show was and talked about how great she was. And then there was this third one that she kind of stopped reading halfway through, and she got all pissed off and then walked out her phony door that she stole the whole thing from the APA. All right? Filler. I don't know. Does it go somewhere? Who knows? All I know is, seems like they're in limbo with Bayley right now. Then we had more filler in the form of Corey Graves coming out and explaining to millions of wrestling fans watching on television how a steel cage match works. As if there is people actually watching this for the first time, which I don't believe is the case. They're not getting any new viewers. Your viewership is at an all-time low. The last thing you need to do is explain the basics of a match that we all know how it works. It was just time to kill. And I would have much rather had that extra time added to the steel cage match where Daniel Bryan defeated Jey Uso. This was an excellent, excellent cage match. Lots of close calls, lots of near falls. Daniel Bryan showed and acted so intensely, and he was really, it seemed like he was in a state of desperation, and he just wasn't going to let Jey Uso have this night. He wants Roman Reigns. He wants his shot at the championship. He thinks that that belt is his only way to the main event of WrestleMania, and he's got his sights set on the big dog who watched this whole thing from his comfy little chair at ringside, and it was fantastic. Before the night would be over, Daniel Bryan, after doing everything he possibly could to work Jey Uso's arm against the cage, nailing him with yes kick after yes kick. Jey Uso was no slouch either. He had a tremendous amount of offense. Both men multiple times trying to climb out of the cage. Daniel Bryan being pulled back in. Jey Uso being pulled back in by Daniel. Great stuff. Excellent psychology. And now it leads to Daniel Bryan tapping out Jey Uso and earning against all odds a shot at the Universal Champion Roman Reigns for the title at Fastlane. And Roman had this look on his face like he simply couldn't believe it, like somebody stepped on his dog. He was so pissed off, staring up at Daniel Bryan, who was doing the yes chant to the fake fed-in, canned audience reaction stuff, which I'm kind of over. But there you have it. Fastlane's main event is set. Daniel Bryan with an opportunity to knock the big dog off his tribal chief podium and main event versus Edge. That would be something. But we all know, as we said earlier in the show, that that's simply not going to happen. Nobody is going to end Roman Reigns, especially not right now, especially not at a Fastlane going into WrestleMania. That was everything for tonight. A whole bunch of things wrong with it from top to bottom. As you can see, even the good stuff had their moments where we could bring down the poop hammer. We are not bringing down the poop hammer at all on that steel cage match. There is no reason for it. The rest of this show, however, from start to finish, gets a big old poop hammer. When you suck at wrestling, you gonna get bam, the poop hammer. Bam, bam. Only right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Thank you guys so much for joining me once again. I hope you all are having a great night. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget, if you had a good time here with me tonight on this show, to smash that like button if you haven't done so already. To not miss out on any of our future content, make sure that you are subscribed and notified to be part of Sledge Nation and never miss it when the hammer comes down on the WWE, because nobody does it like we do here on Sledgehammer TV. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the Team Thor, the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, his tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the entire world, Mr. Blue the Snowball, the most important member of the team, as always, each and every one of you. If you guys missed anything that we've put up in the last couple of weeks, they will be linked in the annotations up above. Make sure to check them out. Once again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Support this show in the very best way you can. If you find yourself in a better situation and maybe you want to make a purchase of some sort, the pandemic isn't over. It's only been a full year now, and we all still have to wear our masks. Thankfully, I didn't have to wear it this week to disguise my disgusting boil that was on my face that I was completely embarrassed of, but you can still get one right now. The official Sledgehammer Wrestling Show COVID protection mask. Teespring.com/stores/sledgehammer-TV. Right now, it's way more than just masks. We got t-shirts, stickers, all kinds of fun stuff. If you find yourself in the position to help the channel, it would be much appreciated. I love you guys all. Thank you once again for your continued love and support. That, my friends, is going to do it. We are out of here. We will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.